After a long weekend and a quiet practice week in Denver, it's time for a raucous Game 1 as hated AFC West rival, the Las Vegas Raiders. Hey Broncos Country, I'm Lori Lattimore-Volkman, and this is the Roundup. Broncos play host in their season opener to many a Broncos fan's least favorite team in the NFL, but most favorite team in the AFC West to beat. And while that has not happened nearly enough in recent years, it is time for a change. And Sean Payton and Russell Wilson certainly know that, because it's not just a Week 1 game, it's a division rivalry game.
Obviously, you want to play well. It's a home game. It's a division game. It's our first game.
To go up against the Raiders, a lot of history here between these two teams, and we gotta create a new history by playing one game and just winning that game and trying to do everything we can with that.
Feeling excited. We got an early test. We go against a division opponent in the Raiders, so very excited for that one. I already know the anticipation going to be high because I already know it's a rivalry game. So, we preparing well and we just ready.
Those division games, they hit a little bit closer to home. And, to start the season off at home against the Raiders is no better way to start the season than, to take care of business, against a division opponent.
Given that the Broncos have lost the last 6 matchups to the Raiders, not beating this team since December 2019, Payton and Wilson know there's a lot riding on the outcome, even if they don't want to admit it.
Is it more important this year given it's a division game at home?
I think every game matters.
I don't think it feels any different than any of the other Week 1s that I've been a part of.
But Payton did admit he's anxious to see where his Broncos team is right now.
You're anxious as a coach to see what you have. Usually in the first 4 weeks, you get an idea of where you're at. I've said this before, there's a race to improve every team, immediately. It's like a teacher that you've had a whole semester and, you're getting a big exam and you think you're, doing well, but you're anxious to see.
And Broncos Country is also anxious to see where the team stands. After an abysmal 2022, you know that Mile High is going to be rocking on Sunday. But the Raiders are definitely going to be ready for a fight, as they always are. With Max Crosby ready to hunt the QB, Josh Jacobs always ready to run over the defense, and Devontae Adams looking for yet another contest against Pat Surtain. But the all-pro cornerback is ready for that challenge too, noting it's always a good test when he goes up against Devontae.
I'm always looking forward to those battles. Obviously, he's a good player. I'm a good player. So, iron sharpen iron. And, it's only going to see where I'm at. It's only going to make me better, you know what I mean? So he's a savvy veteran. Obviously, he knows the ins and outs. Not only is he has all the attributes, he's very smart. Film study is very vital as well, too. And just getting on top of that as well, too.
But Adams isn't even probably the scariest weapon, because it's Jacobs who's done the most damage to this team in recent years. After all, the running back himself is 7-0 against the Broncos and has single-handedly run more than 200 yards against this team in one game. But the Broncos have a bit of a secret weapon this time, with new defensive coordinator and old former head coach, Vance Joseph.
Yeah, he's a good back, and obviously good players make plays, but you have to make a real effort to get him stopped. That's where it starts, in my opinion. If the running game's working, they can dictate, D&Ds along with 17, and when you have a runner like that and a receiver that's, a top 2 or 3 guy who's dominant, it's tough to get both things stopped. So you have to commit, to one thing or another and go for it.
Last year, Joseph's defense at the Cardinals was able to hold Jacobs to just a 3.5 yard per carry average. While that's not small, it's still better than what he did against the Broncos.
That's last year. It was an early game also. Watching the Broncos games versus the Raiders last year, it got better as far as how teams played him, and Josh had more answers, because that was his first time having Devontae, and it was week, I think, 2. They've evolved, a lot since that game. So we'll see how it comes out on Sunday. But obviously, our plan's always stopping their best people. you have a plan. You have a plan to get those guys stopped. If you don't stop their best people, you won't win the game. So.
Although the Broncos are very familiar with the Raiders, they will have an unfamiliar face at quarterback in Jimmy G. But while the Broncos haven't faced him often, Sean Payton is pretty familiar with him, having come from the Saints and the NFC, but also because they share an alma mater. Jimmy G is a former Eastern Illinois quarterback, the one who broke many of Sean Payton's records. Fun fact though, Payton is one of 2 quarterbacks from Eastern Illinois to have his jersey number retired. The other one is Tony Romo.
What is your take on Garoppolo, and is it any additional challenge when you're facing a quarterback in his first game in a season opener with a new team?
Well, he went to Eastern Illinois. There's 2 jerseys retired there. One's Romo. What's the next question? Who's the other? No.
Yeah.
Is it you?
Yeah. I think he ended up breaking everyone's records, but he had a great career and he's doing well in this league. One more.
Regardless of the history and the matchups, no doubt the rivalry will make this a tough game. Russell Wilson knows the key to this game is just hanging in there through the ups and downs and hopefully having more ups than downs.
Yeah, you always want to start fast. I think obviously playing in front of our fans here, Broncos country, what an opportunity we have to obviously set the tone. And I think the best thing that we can do is be ready to battle and be ready to fight. It's going to be a long game. It's going to be back and forth, and there's going to be a lot of energy and emotion and everything else. And the team that can, weather the storm and weather the battles.
With the wide receiver room a little bit depleted as Jerry Jeudy nurses his hamstring injury and may or may not play on Sunday, head coach Sean Payton hinted at the fact that the run game will be a really important tool for the Broncos offense.
It'll be good. I told he and P. Ryan both, I'm anxious to see you guys run because they've gotten, a lot of work, and yet both of them are new to me, and so, as we're going through goal line and short yardage, and someone's going to get those reps, and so those two will be very active in the game.
No matter who's doing the scoring, Sutton is excited about what the Sean Payton offense is going to bring this year.
It's going to be fun to see how coach game plans and puts the pieces together and puts guys in place to go score touchdowns, because we have the guys that can go do it. We have the quarterback that can do it. We have the coaches that can put the game plan together. It's just upon us to make sure that, we're walking away with 6-7 points in those opportunities. And I think that, if we do that, then we'll have a really good chance of winning a lot of games this year.
Well, Broncos country, like Coach said, we'll find out on Sunday if this Broncos team is prepared for its first test.
Yeah, obviously last year wasn't what we wanted it. So I think the biggest thing is going out on the field and just doing what we know how to do and playing at the highest level, winning football games. And every year the goal is to win the whole thing, just to be honest with you.
Let's hope so, because I can't lose to the Raiders. You hear that? No more.
And I don't think anybody's taking anything for granted this year.
Let's ride.
Ooh, this expensive.
Man fanatic. 2-minute drill. Start the clock. You picking the Raiders to beat the Broncos, you gotta be joshing me. You must have forgot the head coach of the Raiders still Josh Redeem. Oh, they got Josh Jacobs, cool, might not be a mockery. Might not. But picking the Raiders to beat the Broncos, you gotta be joshing me. 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 Picking the Raiders to beat the Broncos, you gotta be joking. This ain't the Raiders of the 80s, and this isn't Oakland. Certainly not. They don't come to our house and still a win in the opener. Really? But that head coach and that QB, no sir. No sir. They won twice last year, this year they get no wins. No wins at all. We all know the close games always coming down to coaching. That's a fact. Josh 2-0 and going toe-to-toe with Coach Hackett. Not that guy. But Sean Payton finna get fitted for his gold jacket. Y'all know why. And when PS2 get the PBU, I'm getting petty. I'm getting petty, dog. The meme gonna say, at Tay Adams, I thought you said he's not ready. Matter of fact, he said he's not there yet. I used the movie poster, are we there yet? I put Ice Cube in his Raiders jersey and I changed the text, is he there yet? Oh, I'm joshing. They got joshing. Trying to tell me that you think the Vegas Raiders gonna win. They not. My D ready, my O ready, my crowd already on 10. We so ready, my coach ready. Y'all better not bet on them. Don't do it. Y'all playing with me, ha ha ha. Y'all joshing me. Picking the Raiders to beat the Broncos, you gotta be joshing me. You must have forgot the head coach of the Raiders still Josh with these. Oh, they got Josh Jacobs, cool, might not be a mockery. Might not. But picking the Raiders to beat the Broncos, you gotta be joshing me. 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 Gotta be joshing me. Man, fanatic. 2-minute drill, stop the clock. Hey. Y'all know what it is. Same time next week. Gang.
And Russell Wilson knows that the key to this game is just hanging in there and being the ones to score the most. But they will have a new quarterback to face, Jimmy Garoppolo. And Cortland Sutton, jeez Louise.